We are back for another Filson Friday and picking up immediately where we left off last week after the union-made era of Filson goods, and this week we are discussing the dry clean only era of Filson goods. And again, usually the eras that I refer to what is on the tag or some other characteristics, and this week is no exception. Entering the 1970s, home laundries are running rampant and shrinking garments left and right that aren't properly labeled. The CARE Act comes into play where folks have to say how to care for garments as well. And so we see the dry clean only tag begin to take root on Filson garments. Now, one of the characteristics that they share with their union-made and earlier brethren is the garment workers tag that is in the pocket right here. Of course, by the late 1970s, we start to see professionally dry clean only. And I've got a couple theories as to why we see that. What I start to think is that in the early 1970s, amateur dry cleaning is on the rise. And people are just having these amateur dry cleaning bathtub parties where they are just mixing any concoctions and calling it dry cleaning. There's probably drugs involved, there's probably key swaps and what have you, and all sorts of nefarious goings on in these houses in the suburbs, and Filson has to put a stop to it. Either that or they get sued too many times by backyard dry cleaners who have the product explode in their face, and Filson has to come out with a strong statement saying, professionally dry clean only. At least that's what I like to think. Anyway, that's today's Filson Friday. Next week I'm going to share a piece that is coming down to the Freedom Vintage Clothing Expo with me, but in the meantime, you know where to find me. If you feel like swinging by the barn, I've got a few pieces that are going to be heading down next week to Portland. But otherwise, I will see you next Filson Friday.